Here we're performing seated leg extensions. You can see here I'm adjusting every part of the machine such that the padding of the where my ankles are at is at the end so that I get a full stretch at the bottom for my quads, and then I'm shifting the seat height so that it fits my stature, because I want to make sure that when I sit down, my knee joint is aligned to where the orange little pivot is. As where I'm pointing, I'm showing that I want them to be at the same alignment. This is so that there is no extra shear forces that are going through my knee joint, which can result in discomfort in some people and possibility some knee injuries. Now when I'm doing this, you can see that my feet are completely neutral. They are not turned in or turned out. And that is what I want, because oftentimes when we are squatting, we always have a toe out movement and we are rarely training in this neutral position for the hips and the knees. And therefore, I want our knees and hip to be in this neutral plane where your toes are just straight on forward. Another thing I want to think of is doing is pointing my toes straight back up towards the ceiling. So at the bottom, I want you to use the cue of thinking toes up and then fully straightening at the knee joint. Another thing I also like to cue is to pull onto the handles at the side. The reason being, when we pull down, this allows for greater stability. I do not want the pelvis to be lifting off the seat at any point in time. And this is because when we are extending our leg, the weight is pushing us off the seat. So we counter that by pulling onto the handle to keep our pelvis and hips into the seat. And so this allows for that stability for us to produce a force. Another important thing to note is that when we are doing this movement, I really want full extension. You can see that you are cheating yourself of reps when you're not fully extending and straightening the knee at the top. If you cannot even straighten your knee and extend your knee fully at the top, this means that the weight might be too heavy for you. So I'm going to recap on how to set up this exercise. Number one, you want to adjust the ankle padding such that it is at the bottom position so that when you are allowing that leg to go all the way back, you are getting a full stretch at the quad muscle. Number two, you want to set the height of the seat such that it fits your stature so that when you are sitting down, the knee joint is in alignment with the pivot or the moving part of that machine. Think of that moving part of the machine as your knee joint. You do not want it to be in front or behind to create unnecessary shearing forces. And next, we want to pull down onto the handle so that we keep our pelvis and hips fastened and well positioned and anchored into the seat so that we create good output from the quads. Because if we get a stabilized pelvis and anchored pelvis, it allows for our quads to work better because the origin is anchored well. And next, we want to have a neutral feet position. You do not want your toes to be pointing out or pointing in. You want them to be straight on, because a lot of our movement is always toes in an outward or inward manner. And so we want to train in that straight on manner where your toes are just pointing straight on forward. And last thing is, I want your toes to come back up. So think of toes up towards the ceiling, and you want your feet in neutral where it is not rotating outwards or inwards at any point in time. And the last thing is, when you're doing this movement, you want to have a fully straightened knee extended at the top. If you're not able to do that, means that the weight might be too heavy for you.